We are speaking with Todd Watson. He's a Republican running for the U.S. Senate. He's a challenger to incumbent U.S. Senator Deb Fischer. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are a Lincoln businessman. Let's kind of go over your bio here real quick.
Sure. CPA, married, 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. I have 3 businesses, real estate company, a tech company, about 100 employees, and still manage the farms in the 3rd District that's been in the family for multiple generations.
So how's that family farm doing?
It's pretty rough. It's a big motivation for why we're running.
Okay. What would you like to see done in agriculture that isn't being done right now?
Well, we're running a factual-based campaign. We need to look at Senator Fischer violating the Constitution, voting for fast-track authority, which forfeited her rights to amend trade treaties. We need a lot of work on trade treaties. Everyone's nervous about NAFTA right now, but it's inexcusable you would give up your power over trade in the Senate to President Obama at the time and now President Trump. Now, I think Trump will come through with the deal, but at the end of the day, any businessman worth their salt knows you keep your bargaining chip in your pocket until the deal's done. And we gave ours up, and our farmers are hurting for it.
Okay. Your thoughts on NAFTA? Do you like the way it is right now? Does it need to be tweaked? What?
Well, I do like President Trump's approach to fair trade and America First trade, but ag has to be a part of that. And, our position is very simple. I mean, if we can repeal fast-track authority, we can have amendment power of whatever deal that they come up with. Right now, after Senator Fischer's behavior, we only have an up or down say. So, I think the voice needs to be quite clear to the president. If you want this trade deal, you better have a good deal with an ag if you want my vote. But in the meantime, I think we need to get some brains back in D.C. and observe the Constitution and get the trade power back into the Senate.
Yeah. What about TPP? Would you like to see that?
We've got to distinguish. They're all grouped together. I mean, the TPP, there's a lot of unconstitutional provisions, and we have to realize that the Constitution can't be violated, period. And there's a lot of judicial sovereignty issues in that deal. The big business just wants you to believe it's about trade. But we're talking, Bahrain Brunei, was in that deal, practices Sharia law. They were going to have an equal vote as America. They're only a country of 500,000, but I don't think we want to give up judicial sovereignty over some of our companies and people to a country practicing Sharia law. So there's a lot of issues that aren't being discussed in that TPP deal that were bad. But trade of products is a good thing. But when we talk about partnerships and agreements and we put sovereignty of people at play and judicial proceedings at play, that's not good. And so it definitely needs to be altered.
All right. What other things are you hearing along the campaign trail, and what other things are you emphasizing?
Well, let's be honest. They're trying to cover up this ag disaster that's going on. We have a depression. We fell to 50th in the union in economic growth in 2017. Why on earth would we do the same thing? Our motto is to make Republicans conservative again. As I talk to grassroots conservatives, they have no clue why any of these Republicans are endorsing someone that spent, we're now talking $900 billion more, moving the national debt from $15 trillion to $30 trillion after promising to cut spending and balance the budget. And that's why I'm running. There's a lot of Republicans like, what are our Republicans doing? Why do they believe in this behavior? She's funded Planned Parenthood 4 times in every single budget. This doesn't make sense to Republicans that I talk to around the state. They want to see pro-life. They don't want to see Planned Parenthood funded. They want to see a responsible budget. And they want to see someone getting aggressive on trade deals to help move Nebraska out of this depression in our rural areas.
And you don't think she's done any of that?
No. We don't have business savvy in our delegation like we need to, and that's what I bring to the table, whether it be ag, a brick and mortar business like I've run, or technology where the future's going. They're ready for someone that has a proven track record in business to help Nebraska get out of this rut.
And when we talk about some other issues, gun control right now is a big issue with the shootings over in Florida. What's your stand on that?
Again, we're going back to abortion. We've got over, since the beginning of the year, 130-some thousand children that have died from abortion. Gun murders were at 1,500. And Republicans go along with this talk on gun control. If we're serious about preserving the lives of innocent kids, which is where I'm at, you stop funding Planned Parenthood. You save a lot of lives. So we start at the top. What's causing more death? That's abortion. That's where we need to focus on. I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment, but we're not going to duck issues. We're going to solve problems, but it's not going to be solved with gun control. And we have to believe principled, conservative, longtime political philosophy and liberty is self-defense. Everyone has a right to self-defense. That's natural law. And so I think we need to look at self-defense, natural law in the schools. That just makes sense. But we need to have a discussion on it. I'm not here to be a dictator. No one should be. Let's have a civil conversation. But my bias is towards self-defense type mechanisms.
Okay. Do you favor having teachers with firearms?
Yeah, if they feel comfortable with it, I do. If they've got the appropriate permits, I think it's a good approach. But I don't think mandates on every teacher is the right answer. But I do think if, especially in this state, we're very comfortable with guns, or a lot of us are anyways. And this makes sense if, these teachers love their kids. If you met a teacher worth their salt, they go to bat and love these kids. And we have to trust them. I know I have 4 kids in school right now, and I trust our teachers implicitly and empower them with more tools to help my kids. I have to trust them, and I do trust them.
All right. Immigration is also another big thing that they are discussing in Washington right now. What's your stance on the Dreamers and what we need to do with immigration?
Again, Republicans have caved. They talk, I think our reps talking DACA first. Where's the talk on border control? And when I ran in 2014, I was back here, I said we have to secure the border. They've done absolutely nothing. In fact, they've done worse. Senator Fisher violated the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, gave the power to Congress to set the rules in immigration. Now, she funded Obama's unconstitutional executive amnesty fully. Whether it be Trump or Obama setting the rules on who comes here or what, that's not constitutional. The Congress has to set the rules. So we have to hold our reps accountable for violating the Constitution, funding president's initiatives on immigration when it belongs in Congress, and we need men and women up there in D.C. to grow up, sit around the table, and solve the problem. But in my view, until the border's secured, we've seen it in the past, they go nuclear on the wall or whatever border security if they get what they want with individual status. So to me, it's non-negotiable. We're not talking about it until the border's secured, or we have some nuclear option that if the wall doesn't get built, that whatever provisions were agreed to on status do not happen. But border security is it's non-negotiable. It needs to happen.
What are the other things you're emphasizing in addition to some of the things I've brought up?
Well, we got to talk through national security. In 2014, when I ran, I was the only conservative in the whole state that told you do not fund the Syrian rebels. They did, and they armed them, and they became jihadists, 70% of them. So we have to talk through national security. Why did troops get sent to Africa? 33 countries. I've been critical of the constitutional violation by Senator Fisher. She does not want to vote on war or a 2-year reauthorization in the Middle East. This is not optionable by the Congress, okay? The Constitution's clear. You need to take a vote on war. You need to take a vote on reauthorization. You don't even want to have the vote. So national security is a big deal. We've talked about fiscal restraint. We talk about the joke. It's like, how are you going to take on the Democrats? Well, we got to stop $900 billion in new spending. We got to get the economy going. We've got to clean up national security, and that's just the Republican problems. That's the joke. We've got to act like conservatives again in the Republican Party, and we can be reasonable across the board, but to me, the Constitution's been the great uniter in the history of this country. And until both parties uphold the Constitution, we don't have a rule of law. We don't have order up there. And that's exactly the problem we see. They don't get anything done. So we have to recommit to the Constitution as the great framework and the uniter no matter what we believe. And once we get that solved and we play inside the walls of the Constitution, hopefully we move in a conservative direction. But I think the bigger crisis is getting inside the walls of the Constitution first.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Well, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.